Welcome, everyone, to the Insurance Perspectives podcast. This is part 2 of our series on Insurance Agent App. On today's show, we have Kiki from Insurance Agent App.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here.
Great to have you again. And Heather of Atkinson Insurance Agency.
Hi, thanks for having me.
If you missed part 1 in our series on Insurance Agent App, strongly encourage you to go back. It's an excellent episode, gives a very comprehensive overview of what the app does in an agency, and also Kiki's perspective on some really important questions. For part 2, we turn to a mutual customer of HawkSoft and Insurance Agent Apps to learn how the app and customer experience platform is used inside a real independent agency. Heather Killian is Chief Operating Officer at Atkinson Insurance Agency, located in Mechanicsville, Virginia. The agency has used HawkSoft as their management system since 2015, and I believe has been an Insurance Agent App customer since at least 2019, using the two systems together. This is my first official interaction with Heather, so I before the show we were chit-chatting, which is where I learned that she is a Girl Scout troop leader and doing her first year of cookie sales. So depending on how well this conversation goes, I may have to order a lot of Girl Scout cookies out of Virginia. She did tell me that she loves to embrace chaos in her work life and in her personal life. Definitely explains why she is in insurance. Some of the hardest working people I know for sure. But Heather is also a fan of Legos, which gives me some good insight into how we can say thank you later on for being on this show. HawkSoft has a resident Lego artiste, Andy Furman, in our billing department. He actually just finished he does portraits in Legos, and he just finished one of Kermit the Frog. That's pretty impressive. I will send you a photo.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
Heather contributed some great perspectives in part 1 of this series. So again, I really encourage people, if you haven't checked that episode out yet, go back and watch that. We are going to dive into our customer questions, 5 questions we ask each mutual customer who comes on the Insurance Perspectives podcast. And just like with Kiki in part 1, we're going to start by getting Heather's story, because that's how we kind of get to know people the best. Heather, I would love to know about your experience in the industry, the agency itself, how long it's been in business, how many people are there, what do you specialize in, all those fun things where if you bump into another insurance agent, you start to share all the key facts.
So, thank you for the introduction. I do love chaos, and I think the Legos provide a little bit of structure that is much needed. So, I like that. As far as us, we have been in business for 13 years, 5 of which I have been here. And how I got to be here, I had a friend who worked here, and I saw that there was a job opening. I applied without even telling her, and they called me and wanted to interview me. And then she called me later on and said, "You didn't tell me you were interviewing or you were applying." And I was like, "I didn't want to." So here I am. I mean, I started from the very bottom, and I've been growing and learning every day since. Um, as far as what we specialize in, we are about 87% personal lines and growing, and about 13% commercial. And our goal is to really grow that this year. So we'll see how that goes. In the 5 years that I've been here, we have gone under 5 acquisitions.
Wow.
So we've acquired 5 other agencies along with some of their staff, and they have all been amazing assets to the team. And then there was one before I came along, so I can't speak to that one, but yeah, I mean that's us. I think everything excites me about insurance. There's nothing that's the same every single day. There's always something new. There's always something to learn, and I love helping people. I mean, from the beginning of it, I liked the sales portion of it, and just I didn't know anything about insurance whenever I got into it. And when you think about it, really nobody does unless they get into the industry.
Hmm.
or unless they know to ask those questions. So I really liked being that resource for people around me of explaining to them like what insurance is and what it does and how all of it is important and what it means to have it and things like that. So now I'm still helping. It's just more of kind of in the background and on the techie side of things,
Hmm.
which I also really love. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I love that. I mentioned in part one that I think it's pretty special that Atkinson Insurance Agency has a COO position, and it makes a lot of sense now that you said that you guys have done so many acquisitions in the last few years. Um, I think agencies that have that capacity right now are doing really well for themselves. The next thing I want to ask about, and I think this is perfect because I putting the timeline together in my head, I think it happened under your watch. What were you and what was the agency looking for when you first encountered Insurance Agent app?
So we were looking for really just access, easy access for our clients to be able to get to policies, like policy information. It's like Kiki said in the last episode, it's a 24/7 like access, unlimited to your policy information. And so if it's 11 o'clock at night, you can't really pull me out of your pocket, but you can pull your phone out of your pocket and say, oh, I have a $500 deductible on my auto. Um, so really just having that was really important to us. And then also the claims reporting I know was huge, and it's come a long way since we've actually signed on with Insurance Agent app. But people being in that accident and being able to take the photos and submit the claim information to us, even if it is outside of office hours,
Hmm.
we get that email, we get that notification, and as soon as we get back in, we give them a call and say, "Hey, are you okay? Let's talk through this process. We'll go ahead and get that claim filed for you." But it's all just in one place for them, and that's really important to us is our clients having that ease of accessibility and being able to see all of that and use all of that. And so that's kind of what drew us to it. Um, Another thing with it is that it can link them straight to their actual carrier. So like say
Mm-hmm.
we send them a notification like on a Friday, hey, your payment's past due. We just want to let you know if it's not paid by Monday, like your policy could cancel. They can actually go into their app and click on their carrier and go directly to their carrier's website and process that payment. And we didn't even have to be a part of that other than saying, hey, your payment's past due. So that's awesome. Like if they can't get to us, they know that they at least at the touch of a finger, they can get directly to the carrier.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's delivered through a means where you're not necessarily removing your agency from the relationship in that sense. You're facilitating that connection. You're saying, here's the reminder, use the app that we've provided to you. And even though it kind of gets them into the carrier space to do that, it's not the carrier sending them an automated message. It's not some faceless insurance writer doing it. You're still the agency. You're still involved in that conversation, which feels important.
Right. It's still that personal touch, but it's also giving them a tool that they can utilize. So it's us saying, hey, we're providing you with this information. Like, you can use this.
I definitely think it's important that agencies maintain that relationship. As an independent agency, that's kind of the value proposition that you have. You have that relationship between the agent, um, or between the agent has a relationship to the insured, and while the carrier might treat them very well and do right by them, um, that big corporation, the carrier, is not necessarily the ones seeing them at community events, dropping kids off at the same school, those types of things. So it's important that you can facilitate that relationship in a way that keeps your agency kind of front and center to the relationship.
Yeah. Just to add to that, I think that the focus should be on that the agency owns the customer relationship. The carrier is part of that relationship, and that's how we position it in the app. You can get to it, all the carrier information is there, but it's one of the reasons we normalize the data for all commercial and personal lines policies is so
Mm.
that clients look at their policies and they just see all their policies, they all look the same, it's not like they're trying to decipher the information for each different company, and that gets frustrating. They go in and they can look and it's all laid out the same way, and that's thanks to the agency. So you're always wanting them to appreciate what the agency done, how easy the agency has made it for them to pay their bill, or check on the coverage, or check that they told them about a new vehicle or anything like that. So that's really important to give them the ability to get to the carrier, but keep the focus on the agent at all times.
Absolutely. Um, we've we've had the ability to kind of dip our toes into this next question a bit, but I would love to know, Heather, from your perspective, what can your agency do now with Insurance Agent app that you couldn't do before you guys implemented the solution?
So now I can be in everyone's pocket, literally, just a little tiny phone version of me. Um, Not many, I don't think anybody out in the world could say that they have a little Heather in their pocket. So, um, it's made us more available to our clients, and the integration that has been implemented over the past like 4 years. Even since we've just signed on with Insurance Agent app in 2019, they have come so far with the integrations. Um, Previously, the process that we had was we would get an email in for whatever the notification was, say to add a vehicle. Um, we would have to go into the website and look it up, reach out to the insurer, just make sure the coverages and everything they wanted to have. Now it's, well, we would also have to save a PDF of all of it, drop it into HawkSoft. Now it's all in one swipe. Like it
Hmm.
just, they input the information, it sends it directly to us. We get a notification, we get a suspense, it drops a copy of everything that they've done into HawkSoft for us. Um, it's just left very, very minimal room for error, and I love that. So all of the information that we get is not being passed from one person to another to another. It's being passed directly from the client to our management system. And so it's making it a lot easier for us to process things. And it has just streamlined all of our servicing to just so much better. Um, the way that it logs it all, it's very easy to read. It's made everything very quick, links it straight to the policy. So there's no guesswork really in it anymore. Um, it's I love it. I mean, it has come a long way, and there's a lot of integrations that still just aren't there, but Insurance Agent app definitely is. Like
Hmm.
they got there.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great setup for my next question, because I promised you in part one that you get an opportunity to answer a similar question to the question, like, what is the hardest thing about working with insurance agents? Um, so we have this we've focused this question a little bit more on the feedback for a technology partner. The one thing that we always set aside, because in an ideal world everything would be free, it'd be Star Trek post scarcity, we wouldn't have to worry about these things. So we're going to set price aside, because that's everybody's answer, especially in 2024.
Oh
So
yeah.
we'll set that aside. um, what is one thing that you would change about Insurance Agent app if you could?
You're not gonna like my answer.
So,
I wouldn't. Honestly, and I thought about it, and I was like, everything that I have ever suggested to Kiki or to Matt or to any support person at that in their team, they've either already implemented it in the system, or they've given me a very valid reason as to why it could not or should not be
hmm.
implemented in the system. um, I think recently I had said maybe some type of like straightforward communication, like almost texting. But
Mm.
even that, we have all of our contact information on that front page of the app. It's branded to us. I can, or a client, I'm also a client of ours. Um, they can click on a button that says text, and it automatically will send a text to our agency platform. Like they've really thought of everything. And even if there is stuff that pops up, whenever I reach out to them for help with anything, they are very quick in getting back to me.
Mm-hmm.
or getting back to Ryan when he sends something over. So, not the answer that you would want because I know that there's always room for improvement, but me being my nerdy self, I have not found any room for improvement. So,
Mm-hmm.
you get a gold star from me.
And it
Thank you.
sounds like you're not shy about just giving the feedback directly. Like this isn't your first opportunity to look Kiki in the eyes and say, I want this different, or I think this should be different. It sounds like that's an ongoing dialogue you're having.
I think that it is, and honestly, the last time that they rolled something like kind of big out, I felt very honored, really. They reached out to me and just said, "Hey, can we jump on a call? I wanted to show you this." And um, I sent them over like our little favicon, our little letter A that we have for Atkinson to brand our logo, and she was able to put it in there and also like walk me through some of the other stuff. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I love you guys so much. This is amazing. Thank you." Like they really do take the time to show you all of the things that they are working on, that
Mm-hmm.
they have pushed out. They're just very informative, everyone on the team, and I feel like they keep me in the loop. So I really like that, and I like that I can give honest feedback without feeling like Kiki will hang up the phone and be like, "Gosh, I hate calling Heather." Like I like to be a pleasant phone call, so I'd like to think she'll continue to do that.
Can I just jump in? Because
Please.
that feedback is huge. Because if Heather's having that issue, there are other people having that issue. She may, the statistic is the one person or the one complaint or the one, positive thing you get, that you can multiply that usually by 5 to 7. So
Mm-hmm.
or it may be higher in this day and age, but that's kind of a statistic. So you need to take those, you know, interactions seriously. And hers about the texting is really important because it's helped me formalize our conversation about that blended tech. Because
Mm-hmm.
so like texting is something that everybody is starting to offer. You can get it in all these different products, and people are like, well, do you have texting? And I'm like, no, because I know HawkSoft offers texting, and these guys offer texting, and these guys offer texting. And you need to pick a line. Just because you have it does not mean you need to use it. Pick one and funnel
Mm-hmm.
everything through there. That's going to
Mm-hmm.
be a good blended tech stack. When you use the texting in this program and use the texting in this program and use the texting in this program, you get ugly.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that
absolutely.
comes,
It's
I
Oh,
was
go
going
ahead,
to say,
Heather.
it comes back to that consolidation I was talking about. Like, honestly, if I can start up my day opening 3 windows, one of them being HawkSoft, the other one being my email, keep the rest of the stuff streamlined, like, I am all for that because that's 15 less platforms we'd have to train our agents and new CSRs on using. So, the integration, the consolidation, all of it is just so important. And I feel like they are very forward with us on everything that they do and plan to
Mm-hmm.
do. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and I love to hear that because I think that is so important in just making sure that we're building technology that serves agencies, not generating problems that serve our bottom line. Um, it's one of the hardest things about navigating the tech space is it's so innovation is not easy, but like creating a problem and solving it is very easy compared to really getting to know your customer, really getting to know the industry you serve, and then collaborating towards solutions. That's a harder path to take. And it sounds like that's what Insurance Agent App embraces is kind of listening, um, collaborating, consolidating. It's an approach I love and support. I'm very biased towards it. It's how HawkSoft
Same.
likes to operate too. So um, brings us to our last question, which if anyone's been listening to these the 2 parts of this series on Insurance Agent App, I don't think we're going to uncover anything super new in this, but I'd love to consolidate it all under this one question because we've been having such an excellent conversation about the value that has been brought to the agency. Um, Heather, how would you describe the value that Insurance Agent App brings to the Atkinson Insurance Agency?
I mean, it brings a lot of value. The ease of use for us to be able to set it up, and it's kind of just I don't want to say set and forget because we don't ever want to forget things.
Hmm.
But you can set up stuff to do exactly what you want it to do, and it does it. And so for us to have that ease of use on our end, but it's also very clean, clear cut, like it's got our logo on it. So it's gorgeous on the client side. I love it. I just, there's so much value in that to us. It's really like having just a tiny little agent with you at all times. And sorry, I really love that. I just little
Hmm.
tiny versions of us. We're all so adorable. Um, but I love that for the clients because it just makes it so much easier for them to be able to send stuff through to us. And as Kiki had said earlier, with the certificates of insurance for commercial, like we're trying to grow commercial. So for us to be able to say, hey, if you guys need a COI at any point, click it into the app, send it right over. It's going to set a suspense. It's going to send an email. We're going to get that notification and get it right back out to you. Like it's all of it is just making servicing so much easier because it's like we've said a million times before, we are all slammed, we are busy. It is just, it's always chaos. And so anything to make that easier from any of our partners is huge. Just streamlining processes, making sure that everybody's doing things the same way, everybody's working across the same platforms and using them in the same manner. It's huge for us to just be able to streamline things. So I really love that.
And I imagine overseeing the operations for a growing, somewhat aggressively growing organization, um, it's probably a lot of peace of mind, just to have it in that one place and have it consistent. Um, that's definitely one of the things that I see agencies struggle with is as they're growing, how do you onboard staff and like make sure they're doing things properly, or how do you the famous buzzword, how do you scale? Is this scalable? Sounds like it is, and it sounds like it's working for your agency.
I think with us having about 30 employees right now and still growing, it's a very easy platform for us to train on. It's very, very simple. So I love that about it. And then just it gives us more time to really train on all of the different carriers because we've also got like over 25 standard carriers that we offer as an agency. So if we can spend more time on actually writing the business, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just to add to the training, it's helping them train the customer in what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So and create a consistent outcome, because when everybody's submitting things the same way and they're getting the same documentation and all the same information is recorded and tracked in the same manner, it makes those workflows work better. So it's, you get a dual training session. You can train your customers at the same time that you can streamline the inside back end stuff.
It just
Yeah,
gives a lot
that's
of consistency across the board. And I really, really enjoy that.
yeah. I could definitely see how that would be a huge benefit to make sure to like just make it so that instead of the walk in that has a request for you and the phone call that comes in and leaves you like a vague voicemail, um, and all those different channels, you can just say like, love talking to you guys, but if you're anxious about your coverage and it's 3 a.m. in the morning, you can't sleep, here's this little Heather in your pocket. You can just you can check on your
Others
policy,
awake.
you can make a request. Yeah. um those are the questions I had. This has been a thoroughly enjoyable conversation. I've really enjoyed getting to know you, Heather, better. And I love every time I get to have a conversation with Kiki about this industry. Um, I'd like to thank our listeners for tuning into today's episode. And once again, I'll encourage you to go back and listen to part 1 of our series on Insurance Agent app, to hear Kiki's answers to our partner questions. Thank you for watching today's episode. Click the video description below to learn more about our guests and to view the latest podcast episode as well as other content from HawkSoft. We appreciate you watching and hope you join us next time on the Insurance Perspectives podcast. Thank you.